Today we're going to talk about how to transform conics from general to standard form. So the general form of a conic is going to look something like this, where you have all of the variables written out in like 25x squared plus 9y squared minus 200x plus 18y, we'll say plus 184 equals 0. So this looks a lot like the standard form that of just ax squared plus bxy plus cy squared and so on and so forth. But from here, we can't really graph this. This is not a nice thing to graph. And so what we want to do is we want to get this into a form that we can graph. And the way that we're going to do that is by completing the square multiple times. So when you're here, the first thing you want to do is actually try to separate the x's from the y's. So I'm just going to rewrite this equation as 25x squared minus 200x. Then I have plus 9y squared plus 18y. And I'm going to put the constant without a variable on it onto the other side. So I have negative 184. From here, I'm going to factor out anything that I can. So here I have 25x squared minus 200x. I'm going to pull out a 25. So then I'll have 25 x squared minus 8x. And I'm going to just leave a suggestive space here. Plus 9 times y squared plus 2y, I'm going to do the space again, equals negative 184. Now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get this and this into being just nice, simple squares of something, like x minus 2 squared, for example. So in order to do that, we're going to complete the square. So I'm going to take half of negative 8, so negative 4, square it, I get 16. So I have 25 x squared minus 8x plus 16 plus 9 times half of 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1. So y squared plus 2y plus 1 equals, and on this side, we have to we just added a bunch of stuff to this side of the equation. I need to make sure I add it to both sides. So over here, remember this, we didn't add 16 to this side. We added 25 times 16 to this side, right? Because the 25 is multiplying everything inside the parentheses. Same with the 1. I didn't add 1, I added 9 times 1. So on this side, I have to add 400, because that is 25 times 16, plus 9 to this side as well. And now I can rewrite everything. So I have 25. This is just going to be nice and simplified to x minus 4 squared plus 9 times, this side is going to be y plus 1 squared. And I'm going to have that equal to 225. And now I'm going to divide everything by 225 so that I get x minus 4 divided by 3 squared. Right? So what I'm doing is I divided by 225. 25 over 225 is equal to 1/9. So I had x minus 4 squared over 9, and 9 is just 3 squared. So I have x minus 4 over 3 squared plus y plus 1 over 5 squared. And that's all going to be equal to 1. And now I can look at this and say, oh, well, they're both positive, but they have different coefficients, so this is going to be an ellipse. And then using techniques that you're going to learn in the next couple of videos, you'll be able to graph from here. So we took this, which is something that is pretty much impossible to just graph straight up, and converted it into a nice standard form where we can recognize that we can figure out what kind of conic it is, in this case an ellipse, and then we can go ahead and graph it in the next video. So the next video is going to talk about specifically how to work with ellipses.